Hi all. So last class we discussed the outline of tenses. So now we are entering into the structural pattern of this tenses. So you can see I have pinned the table behind pinned the box behind me. So as you know, we have gone through the box, the 12 numbers of subdivisions of this tenses. So now it is necessary to learn the structural pattern of tenses. So only with the help of this structural pattern you can use this tense while you are communicating with this English language. Okay, so here you can see I have marked this structure, different structures with different colors. So here you can see the same box we have discussed in the last session. So there are the 12 numbers of subdivisions, and I have marked these 12 numbers of subdivisions with the different structures of these different subdivisions. Okay, so here you can see the simple present tense. I have written the structure as do or does with the verb one. Okay, so you know that this do or does. So you know that what is an auxiliary verb. So yes, there are different auxiliary verbs, the different forms of be, then do, then also the has. So these different forms, including this do, does, did, is, am, are, then has, have, had. So these are the very much important part we have to discuss, we have to learn in while we are studying this structure. Okay, so you can see that I have marked this do or does in the simple present tense. Okay, so this do or does, and also this did form in the past tense. Okay, so you can see the do or does, and also yes, you can see the did form in the past tense. So like the same, I have marked is, am, are in the present continuous tense, and also the past form of this is and are in the past continuous box. Okay, so this am, is, are transforming into was or were when we comes to this past tense. Okay, so like the same, the has or have in the case of present perfect tense. Okay, and this has or have, yes, it is changing into this these forms are changing into had. Okay, so these two forms, has or have, are changing into had when we are dealing with this past perfect tense. Okay, so like the same we say in the present perfect, the has or have is, yes, again I have written these terms in the perfect continuous tense. Okay, so this has or have is changing into had in the past tense. So yes, I have said that this do, does, is, am, are, then was, were, then has or has, have, had. Okay, so these terms you have to learn these auxiliary verbs in this structural pattern. Okay, so with the help of these structures, with the help of this auxiliary verbs, we can connect this subject and verbs and the other parts of the sentence correctly. Okay, so the do does term is joining with the verb one, the first form of verb. So we know that the verb has this first form, second form, and third form. Okay, so v1, v2, v3. So this do and does, do or does, is joining with this verb first form. Okay, so the second, in the past, the did can be joined with this second form of the verb. Okay, v2. Okay, so when comes to this simple present, you know that do or does. So we know that the subject verb agreement. Okay, so you know this subject verb agreement. Okay, so when the definition of the subject verb agreement is that when the subject is singular, you must connect this singular subject with the same singular verb. Okay, so when the subject is plural, you have to connect this plural tense, the plural subject with the plural verb. So when comes to this do or does form, simply yes, I explained with the simple terms. This do form can be joined with this plural form. Okay, and this does form can be joined with yes, the singular form. Okay, so when we write a sentence, he writes, okay, he writes, we know that he is a singular form. So we have to use the does form with the subject he. So he plus does plus write. So does plus write means writes. So he writes. Okay, this is the term. So he writes. Okay, so the theory is that do or does form. Okay, so I have said that you have to use this does form with a singular subject and do form with a plural. So when a sentence with the subject they, so they writes, it is wrong. Okay, they writes, it is wrong. That means we have to use this do form with this plural subject. So the correct answer is that they write. Okay, so write plus do means write. Okay, so the subject they is a plural thing, so we have to use the plural form do with this subject. So do is the plural term and does is the singular term. Okay, so we can join this do or does with the verb first form. So verbs first form. Okay, so when it comes to the past, simple past, we can connect this past form of this do does. That means the did can be joined with the verb second form. Okay, so yes, they write plus did, that means they wrote. Okay, so this write or writes become, yes, it will be changed into wrote. Okay, the second form. Okay, so in the continuous tense, okay, in the continuous tense, in the case of present tense, so we know that the is, am, are. Okay, so that is the auxiliary verbs we are using in the case of present continuous tense. Okay, so the structure is that am, is, are plus ing form of the verb. Okay, so we know that am, is, are. Okay, these auxiliary terms are connected with this present tense, and also this am, is, are changing into was or were in the case of past tense. Okay, so this am, is, are in present tense and was or were in past tense are joining with the continuous, the progressive form, ing form of the verb. Okay, and when it comes to the perfect tense, we know that you have to use the two terms has or have with this singular or plural. Oh yes, I forgot that is or are, the difference between this is or are. Yes, I believe you know that is the singular form and are is the plural form. So like the same, is transferring into transfer into was, and this are is transferred into were. Okay, so like the same in the perfect, the has or have, has is the singular form and have is the plural form. So these two terms are changing into had when it comes to the past tense. Okay, but the thing is that you have to use the third form of the verb with this has, have and had. Okay, so you have to use this third form of the verb with these three terms. Okay, so when you are hearing the perfect tense, you must remember, yes, the perfect tense is connected with has or have, and you must use the verb the third form of the verb with this has or have or had. Okay, so like the same when it comes to the perfect continuous tense, yes, okay, so this perfect continuous, so from the title itself we will get the term, the perfect and continuous. So perfect means has or have and continuous means ing form or the progressive form. Okay, so the has or have plus, yes, continuous form. Okay, and we can connect with this has or have with this progressive form with the term been. Okay, so you must add this been in between this has or have and ing form. Okay, and this has or have plus been plus ing is changing into had plus been plus ing. So the only change which happens to the has or have becoming changing into had. So like the same which happened in the perfect case. Okay, so these are the present and past tense structures. Okay, so when it comes to the future tense, we know that there are three terms, the will or shall or going to can be used with this future tense, but the major case, of the common case, we can use this will or shall with a future tense. Okay, so you know that. So what is the difference between this will or shall? Yes, okay, sometimes yes, for example, yes, I will kill you, that means I will kill you, I will kill you. It is determined, it is a decision which is determined. But when it comes to when I say this I shall kill you, that means I shall kill you sometimes, now I am busy and I shall kill you another time. It is not a determined decision. It is like a promising, or it is like a wish, or something like that. So the difference is that will is the determined form and shall can be called as a promise or a wish. Some boys have now that when we play the football, we are saying that I shall. Okay, so what is the meaning of this I shall? Yes, I shall look the ball, or I shall deal the situation. That's a kind of promise. That's not determined. Okay, that's not determined, or that's not correct that we can deal the situation, but just that person is giving a kind of promise. That's only a promise, or only a wish. He can deal that situation. That is not correct or not determined, or he can. Okay, so that's why we can use I shall. Okay, not I will. Okay, so will or shall is the two terms we can use with this future tense. So when it comes to this simple future, like the same when we see in the simple present tense, the verb first form. Okay, the first form of the verb can be used with this will or shall. Okay, so when it comes to the continuous form, yes, so I have marked this will or shall, the term with a red color. Okay, so you know that I have marked this different terms with the same colors in different boxes. So you have to notice this color difference. Okay, so will or shall can be seen in the complete future subdivisions. Okay, in the simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. Okay, so in the case of continuous, the future continuous tense, we can use this will or shall plus be plus ing. Okay, so the is, am, are, was, were we have used in present and past is changing into the parent form of be. Okay, so we know that the parent form of this different auxiliaries are, yes, this be. Okay, be is the parent form of this is, am, are, was, were. So we can use this parent form be with this future continuous tense, and also it is continuous, so that's why we can use this ing form, this progressive form. So okay, so I remark that yes, you have to remember the ing form with the continuous. Okay, so when you hear the term continuous, you have to remember the term ing. When you hear the term perfect, you have to remember the term has or have. Okay, so here, yes, in future continuous tense, it is using this parent form be with this will or shall, and also this ing form with this terms. Okay, when it comes to the perfect tense, the will or shall is joining with the have. Okay, so yes, there are the parent form, the have, the only this form have is using in the case of future. There is no difference between this has or have. We must use the term have in the case of future. Okay, and also, yes, we know that we have to use the third form of the verb with has or have or had. So we can use the third form of the verb with this have in the case of future perfect. So will or shall plus have plus third form of the verb. Okay, so like the same, we comes to this perfect continuous tense, the future perfect continuous tense. Yes, the will or shall is joining with the same have plus ing, and we can connect this have plus progressive ing with the term been. So will or shall plus have plus been plus ing. Okay, so one thing is that you have to learn this structure as by heart. Only by learning this structure you can use this tense when you are communicating with this English language. Okay, so yes, now you can see a different box I have pinned behind me. Yes, this is the example I have written with this structure. So you can see in the simple present case, yes, the sentence she writes. She writes. So the subject is that she, and yes, the verb is write. Okay, so write plus does becomes writes. So she is the singular form, so we can use the does form with the verb write. So we will get she writes. Okay, she writes. Then when comes to the continuous tense, when comes to the present continuous tense, it is she is writing. It is this sentence she writes is changing into she is writing. Subject she, then auxiliary verb is, am, are. So we can select is because she is singular. So she is. Okay, then ing form with the verb write plus ing, writing. So she is writing. So comes to the perfect present perfect tense, it is changing changing into she has written. So subject is that she, so we can use has, because yes, has is the singular form. So we can use she has, and you know that we must use the third form of the verb with this has or have or had. So we can use she had written. Okay, you know that write, wrote, written. So the written is the third form of the word write, the verb write. So we can use she has written. So when it comes to the present perfect continuous, yes, she has been writing. Subject is she. Then the yes, as because of the perfect term, we can use has, because has is the singular form. She is a singular form. So we can use she has. Then ing form of the verb writing, and we can connect this has plus writing with the term been. So she has been writing. Okay, so you must know about this structural difference, the pattern of this different subtypes. Okay, so you can change the single sentence she writes into different subdivisions of this present tense. So she writes is changing into she is writing, then she has written, then she has been writing. Okay, when it comes to the past tense, in the simple past, yes, she plus wrote. Wrote means write plus did. Okay, so write plus did, we will get the second form of the verb write, wrote. Write, wrote, written. So the second form wrote. So she wrote. It is the correct answer. Then when it comes to the past continuous tense, it is changing into she was writing. So the term is, am or are is changing into was or were. So now here we can use was, because was is the singular form and she is the singular form. So the subject verb agreement permits that we can connect this she, the subject she, with the auxiliary verb was. So she was writing, ing form writing. When it comes to the perfect tense, it is changing into she had written. So the has or have we have seen in the present perfect is changing into had. Okay, so she had, and yes, the third form of the verb written with the had. So she had written. Then when it comes to the perfect continuous tense, she had been writing. The only change which happened from this the present perfect continuous into the past perfect continuous, the change of has is changing into had. Okay, the only thing which is changed in between these two terms. Okay, when it comes to the future tense, we can use this will as a determined decision. So she will write. We used this term will. So she plus will plus write, the V1, the verb first form. Okay, when it comes to the continuous tense, the future continuous tense, yes, she will be, the parent form be, instead of is, am, are, was or were. So she plus will plus be plus ing form, because it is continuous. Okay, then comes to the perfect tense, yes, the only term we can use in the future, in the perfect future case, it is have. Okay, not has. So she will have written. Okay, we can use the third form of the verb with a have. Okay, so she will have written. So comes to the perfect continuous tense, it is changing into she will have been writing. So only term we have used is have. So she plus will plus have, then it is continuous. So that's why we can use ing. So the connecting, we can connect these two terms with a been. Okay, so this is the answer. This is the change which happened for this single sentence. She writes in the case of this different 12 subdivisions. So you have to learn these differences in the case of these 12 subdivisions. Before that, you have to learn the structural pattern. Only with the structural pattern you can change this sentence into this different 12 parts. Okay, different 12 subdivisions. Okay, so first you have to we can make a task with this, that you have to write a simple sentence, a simple present tense, any sentence you can as you like. So you have to write it as a simple present tense as with the number 1. Okay, then you can change this number 1 into different 12 subdivisions. Okay, so you can write the first number with this simple present tense, then you have to change it to present continuous tense, then present perfect tense, then present perfect continuous tense, then also into another subdivisions. Okay, so only by changing this this simple present tense into 12 subdivisions, you can use this different subdivisions, different tense forms in your communication. Okay, thank you.